is my great honor and pleasure to introduce to you Kim Reichhelm.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. Thank you very much, Chris and Holly, Stratton Mountain School Board of Directors. Thank you for asking me to be here today. It's a huge honor. Welcome, students, parents and family, teachers, coaches. Thank you for being here today. It's a huge honor to stand here before you after being a part of Stratton Mountain School for 7 years. It's changed slightly. My graduating class was a rat pack. We didn't look anything like you guys. You've come a long way. And congratulations to the class of 2018. You are officially graduates of high school. Now the fun starts. My earliest childhood memories are right from here at Stratton. Riding up the Suntanner lift, I was probably about 6 years old. And I can remember it because my legs were sticking straight out off the lift and I'm looking through the tips of my skis down at the ski team. And I looked at the person that was riding up the lift with me and I said, "You see those guys? That's the ski team. They're the best skiers on the mountain. I'm going to be a ski racer someday." That same season, I figured out where the ski team office was. It was underneath the stairs in the main base lodge across from the bathrooms. There was a half door open with posting for training times, race schedule, and gear for sale. I knocked on the door and a gentleman came out, looked down at me and said, "May I help you?" I looked up at him and I said, "I want to be on the ski team." And he laughed at me and he said, "Well, little girl, to be on the ski team, you have to be able to see over the top of this door." It was one of those, half doors. It was literally a little tiny cubby hole underneath the stairs. I said, "Why don't you come back when you're a little bit older and have grown some?" So the next weekend, I was back down there, knocking on the door, and I was standing on my tiptoes inside my lace-up ski boots, and I said, "I've grown." And he was like, "Wow, this little girl, she's not going to go away." He said, "Have you ever taken a lesson?" And I said, "No, my parents taught me how to ski and they're friends, but I'm really good." So I went off to take some lessons. My family came up every weekend, so after 2 weekends, I graduated from F class. And I went back to the ski team office with my certificate from graduating from ski school. And the gentleman said, "Well, okay, so it looks like you're pretty dedicated to the skiing thing. Next season, you can go to Christmas camp. And after Christmas camp, we'll see about you being on the ski team." So the following season, I went to Christmas camp, and shortly after that, I became a member of the Stratton ski team and the Southern Vermont Junior Race Council. T.D. McCormick, the man behind the door, who did laugh at me, was my coach, and a fantastic coach you were, T.D. You taught me how to angulate, you taught me about centrifugal force, and you taught me for passion in a sport that I love today as much as I loved then. Thank you. By the time I was 11, I was possessed by ski racing. My parents were going crazy. They didn't know what to do with me. I was drawing pictures of ski races in my classroom notebooks and racing through with my pencil over and over again, trying to find the fastest line. And there were other parents at that time that were also struggling with driving to Vermont every single weekend from Connecticut, New York, and various places. And their children were also showing a lot of promise as ski racers. Some of them were even on the talent squad of the U.S. ski team. So in order for us to reach our fullest potential, our parents realized that we couldn't just race on weekends and not train at all. So they decided to, they got together and they hired some teachers and they basically homeschooled us. So we lived in our parents' homes and were homeschooled in our homes during the winter time and then got to ski every day. So here I am, 12 years old in whatever it was. What's it say up there? 1972. In 1972, I started skiing 100 days a year. and I pretty much haven't stopped since, so I'm a pretty lucky girl. As the idea grew amongst other parents, we grew as not even officially a school at the time, just a rat-happy kids skiing every day and being homeschooled in our parents' homes. But we doubled in size the next year, and they were looking for a place for us to have classrooms because they couldn't do it in our homes, so we went to the Chapel of the Snows. And driving up here, I looked at the Chapel of the Snows, and Stratton has changed so much from the days that I was here in the 60s and 70s. But this Chapel of the Snows has not changed at all. But downstairs in the Chapel of the Snows is where we had classrooms. And then shortly after that, we had the Hotel Tyrol, where we rented a wing where we had classes. And then after that, we bought the Hotel Tyrol, which then became the first official Stratton Mountain School. I want you to know that I wear being a graduate of SMS like a badge of honor. Still to this day, I brag about being at SMS for 7 years. I loved every minute of it. The friends I made, the people I love still this day were part of the school and a huge part of my life, including both of my brothers who are here today, Scott and Todd. We have my parents to thank. They had vision, or maybe they were just sick and tired of driving us to ski races every weekend. But my parents were a huge influence in my life. My mom was a badass tomboy. We both campaigned horses in the summer and spent hours driving around New England going to horse shows. During this driving time, I would tell my mom of all my dreams. I wanted to be on the U.S. ski team, and I wanted to be on the U.S. equestrian team, and I wanted to compete in both Olympics in the same year. And I can remember my mom, she said this to me many, many times, and I can still hear her completely exasperated voice saying, "Oh, Kim, be realistic." But what I love about this is she didn't say, "Stop being a dreamer." She just said, "Be real." And it reminds me of my coach, Herman Gollner, who just recently got inducted into the United States Ski Hall of Fame. Herman never told me what I was doing wrong. He just told me what to do right to fix it. All positive, no negative. My behavior from my mom, this behavior from my mom and Herman had a strong influence on me, and I try very hard to carry this positive attitude in my own coaching, teaching, and mentoring. My dad was a hard ass. He never said yes to anything I asked for the first time. He said, "Prove it. You want to go to summer race camp? Then get in the gym 6 days a week. Help your mother around the house, do the laundry, clean the garage, mow the lawn." He made me make sacrifices to get what I wanted. And you know what? In making those sacrifices, I valued what I got even more. Once he said yes, I owned it. I appreciated what I had because of the sacrifices I had made to get them. So from the badass, I learned to be real, and from the hard ass, I learned to own it. Both lessons ingrained in my life today. I know it's hard sometimes to listen to your parents, but believe me, they do actually know what they're talking about. I spent a lot of time thinking about this speech, and I've asked myself, what were the major things that influenced me to be the woman that I am today? In the process, I realized that the 10 years after graduating from high school were my discovery years. These are the years when we figure out who we really are, what we really love, and what we're good at, and even more importantly, what we're not good at. In the next 10 years, you'll have life experiences that will shape you. Right now, you kind of have a hall pass. By the time you're 30, you will have responsibilities, car payments, even a mortgage. Maybe you'll be thinking about getting married, having children, starting your own business. So I encourage you to take advantage of this time and enjoy not having all these responsibilities. Travel, see the world, try new things, take chances, and discover yourself. Now's the time to find your passions, figure out what you're good at, and say yes to opportunities. My sophomore year in college, I was invited to float the Grand Canyon. It was a life-changing experience for me. The beauty and magnitude was awe-inspiring, but it was the guides who affected me the most. They were the happiest people I had ever met. They were not surrounded by material things. Their lives were simple, They raised their children on the river, spent their days outside with people on vacation. It was on the Grand Canyon when I was 22 years old that I realized that experiences were more important than things, and that I too would pursue a life of experiences. On your journey, listen to your heart and grab onto the experiences that have positive effect and allow them to help you shape your life. In college, I also discovered what I was good at and what I was not so good at. And I'm not going to tell you about my struggles in school. But in the process of figuring out my strengths and my weaknesses, the process was more valuable than what I've learned in books. You too will find your strengths, recognize your weaknesses, and surround yourself with people who complement your style and will allow you to focus on what you're good at. It was at the University of Colorado ski team that taught me the most. After graduating from SMS and a postgraduate year racing on the US ski team, I was dropped by the team at the peak of my career. I went to college with a massive chip on my shoulder. I was cocky, independent, outspoken, selfish, brash, and my only goal was to ski myself back on the ski team. I didn't care about anybody except myself. I was a leader, although I didn't know it at the time, and I was a negative leader. I staged walk-offs in dryland training, and I even got my coach fired. By my sophomore year, we were a coachless team with no direction, no unity, and the worst ski team in the NCAA. A lot of this was my fault, and I'm not proud of my behavior. I certainly don't recommend this path to self-discovery. But we all make mistakes, and recognizing them and making them right is part of the process of growing and becoming the best we can be. The ski team gave us a budget to hire our own coach, and we set out to bring ourselves out of the gutter. At this time, I started to learn what it meant to care about other people, to be a part of the solution and not the problem. By the end of the season, we found ourselves in contention to win the NCAA National Championships. Now, I was a slalom specialist, and my attitude was always win or fall. But college ski racing is a team sport. 4 athletes race, 3 score. My contribution to the team was imperative for the win. The slalom was the last event, and I was in first place after the first run. Now, I wanted to win for myself, but I knew if I went for it, I could fall. And if I fell, I would put so much pressure on my teammates that winning the title would be unlikely. They needed me to make the finish line. And I knew if I skied to make the finish line, I could not win. This was the first time in my life that I made a sacrifice for others. I skied a solid run and scored. My 3 other teammates had the confidence to let it fly, and we won national championships. Knowing that my contribution had made a difference, and that feeling of pride, of camaraderie, was way more powerful than anything I'd ever experienced. I'm very fortunate that as a ski racer, I learned that giving is more rewarding than taking, and that by giving, I had helped create something that was much greater than just me, and it was an experience that changed me forever. I'm a huge proponent of setting goals. I believe you can have anything you want if you work hard enough. We need to clearly identify what it is we want. I believe if you write it down, it creates a life of its own. Ask yourself the hard questions. What do I love? Who do I want to be? And how am I going to get there? If you don't know the answers, keep asking until you do know. Don't be lazy. By following your passions and living with purpose, you will be happy. Having a plan helps us stay on a path or discover we need to change that path. If you don't put it out there, you'll never know. If you don't make plans before you know it, you'll miss opportunities and life will pass you by. There's a song by Pink Floyd from Dark Side of the Moon, and it's called Time. I've been listening to this song since I was a little girl, and it also has had a huge influence on my life. Ticking away the moments that make up a dull day, fritter and waste the hours in an offhand way. sitting around on a piece of ground in your hometown, waiting for someone or something to show you the way. Tired of lying in the sunshine, staying home to watch the rain. You are young and life is long, and there is time to kill today. And then one day find 10 years have gone behind you. No one told you when to run. You missed the starting gun. I'm telling you right now, it's time to start running. We're fortunate. We have graduated from one of the best academies in the country. We learned self-discipline at a young age. We are goal-oriented. We have traveled the world, competed at a high level, learned to manage our time, and to make sacrifices for what we want. As you move into this next chapter, you'll find most kids your age don't have these skills. Take advantage of the head start. You can have anything if you plan, and give back to those who are not as fortunate. Just being a mentor for 5 minutes can make someone's life better, including yours. I knew when I was in college I was going to race professionally. At the time, pro ski racing was a big deal. There was a lot of money, sponsorship, television, and career opportunities. So my senior year, I started planning. I studied companies who paid and advertised for pro skiers. I interned with these companies. I even got credit in college for negotiating my pro contract. This contract was heavily weighed towards getting my sponsor's television exposure, so I went to a talent agency in Denver and took an acting class. My rookie season on the tour, I arrived with sponsorship contracts, a resume, business cards, a portfolio, public speaking experience, and camera presence. Even if I didn't podium, I was always on air because my interviews were good. Within 3 months of graduating from college, I was making money. Once I retired from ski racing, I was hired by the sponsor of the Pro Tour, Anheuser-Busch. All of this happened because I planned ahead. I wrote it down, I figured out how to get what I wanted. These are the years to experiment with life. Don't take the easy road. Sometimes our plans don't work out. Sometimes we have to start over. Every experience is a learning experience. Even the setbacks, we learn. You have already had disappointments, and unfortunately there will be more. There will be injuries, heartbreaks, you lose jobs, you lose loved ones. It's not the setbacks that shape us. It's how we handle it and how we recover. We all make choices every day, and I encourage you to see the good side of every situation, the best in people, and to make an active decision to be happy, kind, and a good person. I have a saying, it's don't think about the sharks. And I started saying this because as a surfer, people are always asking me, aren't you afraid of the sharks? And my response is, if I spent time thinking about sharks, I wouldn't enjoy surfing. So I choose to not think about them, allowing me to love my time on the water, chasing waves. You can decide to be negative or to be positive. I promise you, living with a positive attitude and making the best of every situation is the better choice. In 1994, someone betrayed me. I was beyond angry. I was dysfunctional. I needed an outlet to help myself recover, so I decided to compete again. In 1991, I had won the Extreme Skiing Championships in Valdez, Alaska. It was an easy win. All I had to do was show up. Over the next 3 years, the competition grew and the field got stronger. And I just started my business and recently married, and these things were my priority. So I continued to be involved as a judge and worked on the broadcast team. But when I learned of this deception, I decided the best thing for my anger management was to compete again. So I set goals. I started working out much harder. I focused on my health. I hired a young couple to help me run my business. And I skied as hard as I possibly could every single day. That season, I won the South American, the US, and the World Extreme Skiing Championships. I had turned all that negative energy and anger into a season of victories. Needless to say, I wasn't angry anymore. I share this story with you for a couple of reasons. One, if you set goals and work hard, you can shock yourself at what you can accomplish. Two, there are positive ways to recover from setbacks and disappointments. Don't destroy yourself over someone else's actions or things you can't change. Find ways to recover gracefully and look for the good in every situation. My last story is about believing in yourself, taking chances, and following your heart. In 1989, I started my business, Women's Ski Adventures. This was a time when nothing like this existed. Muscles were not sexy, and women's-specific sporting equipment didn't exist, and the girls getting together meant going to the spa. The ski industry told me I was crazy. They said, don't you know only 32% of the skiing population is women and it's dropping? My dad said, you need to come home and get a real job. But I didn't listen to these people, these naysayers. If I had, who knows where I would be? Probably not standing here before you right now. I believed in what I was doing, and I knew there was a need for women to be empowered through sports. I wanted to do this for me because I was passionate about it. I had no idea I would build this business into something that is successful, rewarding, and has an impact on people's lives. I stand here before you saying, follow your dreams. Be real, take chances, work hard, and be willing to put it all out there. There's nothing more rewarding. Easy isn't fun. I know it's a cliche, and I can tell you firsthand, if you are doing something you love, even the bad days are good. If you live with passion, purpose, and productivity, you'll be happy and successful. I work hard keeping it that way. I choose to experience things. I encourage you to find what you love, choose to be happy, and choose to be positive. I know people who are very wealthy, and some of them are not so happy. But I know very wealthy people who are happy because they live with purpose and direction. Spending hours on social media is not productive. Spending a lot of time thinking about or concerning ourselves with what other people are doing is not productive. Sleeping in, being lazy, watching a lot of TV or movies, these things are not productive. We all have moments where we need to de-stress and kick back. But I promise you, successful people in this world live with purpose and are productive. So I brought you guys a book. I bought you a present. It's a book. It's called The 4 Agreements. In adopting the 4 Agreements, I've found I am a better person. I encourage you to keep this book and adopt these agreements. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word. This means don't lie, exaggerate, be unkind, gossip. You get the idea. Own your words and be proud of what you say. The second agreement is don't take things personally. Other people's behavior is not about you. When a person is mean or projects bad energy toward you, just tell yourself, this is not about me. This is their problem. The third agreement is never make assumptions. Making assumptions always gets us into trouble. Be a good communicator, and you won't need to make assumptions. And the fourth agreement is always do your best. This includes trying not to make assumptions and not taking things personally and being impeccable with our word. It's a constant battle, but if you set these goals, they'll make a difference in your life. I have found by adopting these agreements in my life, I am a better, more balanced, happier person with a lot less drama. You are adults. You can do anything you want. Find your passions, go after them with purpose, and be productive. It's your life. Go out there and live it. Thank you very much.